A finite amount of opportunities that present
A
themselves.
lot slower. And it's been a gift
to stamp moments and memories. And I agree with all of that.
Come down here, go all in on life.
and finish it off, take the
When he
lesson.
kind of changes you, we start our own brew pub, and it was
Don't cut it. Don't you dare cut that.
Today's guest, absolute savage. David was doing ice baths during chemo, running Spartan Sundays while battling cancer, working out with a port in his chest and documenting the whole thing, not for clout, but to actually hold himself accountable. He's the kind of guy who doesn't just talk about discipline, he lives it. Through pain, through chaos, through life hitting him in the gut, he never stopped showing up. This episode isn't just inspiring. It's raw, intense, and honestly, kind of insane in the best way. Let's get into it. David Jackson.
Hey, Nemo.
I think you're one of the only people whose first name I can't say without their last name. So I always refer to you as David Jackson.
Yeah, it's just great to be here, man. I really appreciate you having
Thanks
me
for coming
on.
by, man. Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Dude, you've done some fucking crazy things in your life. And I know you as a friend, first and foremost. I met you a while ago, and I've enjoyed every moment with you. I mean, I think you're fucking hilarious.
No, dude, I appreciate that. I have joked often that I feel like my life is somewhere around a Forrest Gump version of a movie. I find myself in places that I have no idea how I end up getting there, right? Come from a small town, and every time I go out into the world, I end up meeting these amazing people like you, connecting through different ways, and then always out on some new adventure.
Dude, I love it. I mean, I think one of my favorite stories about you is it's just mind-boggling. I'm like, I can't believe I met a guy that does that. When you were at the bottom of the river throwing sandbags into, like, how did that go again? Tell me that story. I love that story.
Well, yes. I mean, I've had an eclectic life. One of my short-term careers was commercial industrial diving, and I was so excited when you spend 1,000 hours training for diving, and you think you're going to do these really technical, complicated tasks, and you get out on this big dam, and the dam has a leak. So the backside of the dam, water's coming out of it. And I'm like, oh, how are we going to engineer this? We're going to measure, we're going to build something, and they hand you a pile of sandbags and a mop. And the sandbags, I understood. The mop was what was confusing.
Yeah.
And so what you do when you have a leak in a dam, because you can't see anything, it's not even brown. It's just black, right? As soon as you underwater, one ladder rung, you can't tell your lights are on. It's the abyss.
So you're just down there at the bottom of the river, of the lake, and you see nothing.
Nothing. It's not even, black doesn't cover the feeling. So, it's pure darkness, and it's very disorienting. So they give you a mop because you have this loud, thunderous noise of the water going through the dam
my God,
underwater.
you hear that.
Oh, yeah. It's like being inside of a subwoofer.
Wow.
And you can't see anything as you're completely disoriented, and there's a big leak, big hole in the dam.
Yeah.
So you hold the mop loosely in your hands, and you
Right.
just take little baby steps until
Towards
the mop is no longer in your hands anymore.
Because it flies out.
Exactly. It will literally get sucked into the dam.
What the fuck?
At which point, you're at a really good place to just hold your ground.
Right?
And then they start sending you down the sandbags. Again, this part, I knew what that was for.
Yeah.
And you would just toss the sandbag up into the mythological air.
Right.
And if it disappears, if you can't catch it,
Yeah.
you're good.
So you just throw it up and hope
And
it doesn't
then
fall
at some point, when you throw it up, it lands in your hands again.
Holy shit.
And again, it's all by feel. You can't see it. This
Yeah.
is like a magician's act where you're blindfolded.
Holy
and so
fuck.
then when it lands in your hands again, you take a very pathetically nervous baby step forward.
Yeah.
And you toss it up again. And if there's enough suction, if there's enough current,
Yeah.
it'll get sucked into the dam. And then eventually, after 3 days of a rotating crew doing this, you're at the actual dam and it's full of sandbags.
Dude,
And you're done.
That's the most horrifying thing I've ever heard. When I met you and you told me that, I was like, why the fuck would you do that? Why the fuck would you, how did you get into that? Why would you do that?
Well, most people do things for money. It was one of the highest paying jobs you could get. I was 18 going to school for business. I ended up blowing my knee, so I couldn't do landscaping, which had been paying me very well. But a young man who can't do physical labor doesn't really make good money. And I started thinking, gosh, even when I graduate from college, I'm going to be, bottom of the rung. You look at what people with a BA degree get, and they're like $20,000 a year at that time.
Yeah.
Which I looked into commercial diving. In 1 year, you could get a full certification and get $70 an hour. I dropped out of college and almost immediately started making more than my professors.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah, a
amazing.
little scary.
A little scary. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would do that, man. That just sounds so horrifying. You can't see disorient every.
Well, the military wasn't an option. Like I
Fair
had to
enough,
get through some way.
You're too tall anyway. You just get
Right?
sniped.
Oh man.
Okay. Dude, what was your childhood like? Where'd you grow up? What'd you do?
So I grew up in a small town. So I grew up in Corvallis, Oregon.
Yeah.
We call it Corn Valley. You know, it's all
Yeah.
fields. It's a college town, so 60% of the population was college students.
Oh, wow.
And it made a really interesting kind of balance to the city. Of
Yeah.
summers would be completely calm and quiet, and then there's a lot of activity during the school year. But I just fell in love with nature being there. The one thing Oregon has, we don't have much of an economy, but we have forests and lakes. We're just rich in nature, and it
Yeah.
gave me an extremely strong connection to being outside, to being in mountains. I think that's part of when I came down to Medellin. I just connected. It rains all the time. It's green. It's lush. There's mountains. There's trees everywhere. And as much as it's radically a different part of the world, that it just grounds me to those natural roots.
I love that. Wow. So when you were a kid in school, were you a good student, bad student?
Well, that's a tough
Peaceful,
one.
nice.
This could go. I mean, I was a really good kid until about 7.
Okay.
I really made I really wanted to behave. And then I started to realize it was all a scam.
Right.
Even in elementary school, I would just go home in the middle of school because my house was 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
And it continued to middle school. My problem was I like to read, so I read the student handbook, and it said that you're not allowed to hold a student back unless their parents consent. And my parents weren't always there, but I knew they didn't want me to be held back. I knew they had no intention of keeping me in the house longer than they had to. So I stopped doing all my work in middle school. I had a 0% in 7th grade.
Wow.
And I still got to go to 8th grade because I read the handbook. And so it was one of these things. All my teachers were really mad at me, but I said, well, I did the only assignment that mattered. I read the rules. And I go, if you wanted me to go to class, change the rules. Why are you mad at me? I'm
Yeah,
like, your
you
book
made the
literally
rules.
said, you literally. So the way to optimize 7th grade was by not going.
Holy shit.
So it didn't serve me that well later because I probably missed a few valuable disciplinary lessons in studying.
Yeah.
I think the most ironic was when they actually brought me into detention and they tried to make me fill out this journal that I was going to have to do every single day. It was extra work. So I remember looking at the counselor. I said, okay, so you brought me in here because I'm not doing my work. I understand that. I don't understand how you think a solution is assigning me more unnecessary work as a motivation to do the work I'm already not doing.
Right.
And at that point, I literally got up in the middle of that meeting too and left. They're not legally allowed to detain you. They're not the police.
Right.
So they didn't really know what to do with me. I didn't really know what to do with them. That continued into high school. In high school, their handbook said you could skip 54 classes.
So you skipped 54.
52
Okay.
per quarter.
Nice.
So every 9 weeks, I would skip 52 classes.
Yeah.
I started my own landscaping business. And the ironic thing, again, when they try to get you in trouble for doing these things, right, their solution was to give me in-school suspension. Well, in high school, it's different because they lose their funding, right? They want you there because they get paid.
Right.
So in their defense, they had a good financial motive, and I learned about financial motives.
Right.
But also in high school, you can pick your own courses. It was a pretty easy move. So I had a 4.0. I actually had perfect grades for 3 of the 4 years because my mom was worried the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, well, if mom's happy, then I have no problems.
Right.
So I got perfect grades. So I just got perfect grades and never went to class, which I think says more about the education system than it does me.
That's
I'm
true.
not a savant. I just think we set the bar pretty low for our kids, honestly.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
So that's what it's like growing up in Oregon, man.
Well, reading the rules and getting around them, I love it. Yeah. What else are you going to do? So.
Well, that's kind of been a theme of my life. I mean, it's kind of it just kind of started young.
No, that's true. That's true. So after the commercial diving, you got into corporate, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
So yeah, use the whole commercial diving thing was a means to an end. I wanted to pay for my school. I wanted opportunities. So I was able to graduate with money in the bank. I studied finance, interviewed a bunch of companies, and went with one of the Fortune 100. They're New York Life, mutually owned, but very. I have nothing but good things to say about my time there.
Yeah.
Top-notch sales training. They really gave me a springboard into really kind of becoming an adult. All my other jobs were very blue collar, and they were such a structured company.
Right.
And for someone who was very anti-structure,
Right,
it was
right.
a very powerful lesson for me to spend in that phase of my life.
No, that's interesting. I remember I was the same way. Similar thing. Like I was any rule that exists, why? And if it doesn't connect to some sort of, if it's just out in the void, I'm like,
Right.
well, if I just go around it, it doesn't apply to me. So when I first went into my first job ever was filter queen sales, door to door, and the structure there oh my God, it's like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like they got it figured out to a T. Like how else are you gonna lug around a giant $3,000 vacuum, knock on a door, and make a sale?
Right.
And it's basically all commission. Like, the thing probably costs like $500 to make, but everything else is the branding and marketing and all of it. And you know, the product's great. I believed in it. I loved it, but still a lot of effort. And when I was there, I saw like I wasn't selling, and I was like, why the fuck is this failing? And until like they drilled into me, like, just follow the fucking script, just do it, just do it one time, try it. And then I went and that was the first time I made $2,000 in a day.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, that's it. That's the moment it clicked. I was done. I'm like, this is what I got to do. I got to do stuff like this. No more school, no more nothing.
Well, and sometimes you don't want to outsmart things, right? So there are times when you get those systems and you want to do it better, right?
Of course.
You want to think like, I see all these other idiots doing this. I can do it better than them.
Yeah.
But honestly, the guy who wrote that script wasn't an idiot. And it's like, that's a tool that put in the right hands works. And no, I relate to you on that, right? You get these big companies, and having at least been exposed to that structure really lets you take all the wildness, you know, and focus it on something and see the result faster.
No, absolutely. And, you know, being a business owner and having people work for you and building teams, you really start to appreciate those people more. You're like, man, how the fuck did you do that? I used to think that was so stupid, but now I realize why it exists.
Well, we had a development manager when I started. Her name was Susan Wade. We all called her Mom.
Yeah.
She was like one of the only women in the whole industry. You know, finance is very masculine heavy.
Yeah.
And I remember her my first couple weeks just being like, well, David, you're going to have to start dialing because your phone will never ring. And it stuck with me. I go, my phone will never ring. I was like, what would happen if I was the only agent out of the 5,000 agents who had their phone ring? So as much as I followed the script and it was very powerful, the whole time in the back of my mind, I just wanted to figure out how to make my phone ring through service, right? How could I be of so much value that people would think of me? And it's interesting. I haven't been in finance in that capacity in over 12 years now, and my phone still rings. I will still get calls from people who knew me. Hey, are you still in invest? And hey, are you still doing financial planning? And that was something I really set out to do. But those tools, you know, those tools and those experiences are priceless. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Switch gears a little bit. What was your darkest moment in your life?
Oof. I think, I mean, everyone goes through darkest moments, and I think it's more relative to the time you're going through it because, you know, I could say, as you know, I got diagnosed with cancer last year. And like, you know, standing on your balcony the day you get that notification, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
But that wasn't necessarily dark. You know, you can go to your childhood. You know, I remember finding out my parents were separating, you know, and for a child, that's definitely, you know, in that perspective, your darkest moment. Your whole structure is falling apart.
Yes.
You know, and I can remember in business when I built one of my companies with two partners, and it was family. And when that fell apart and got ugly, you know, that one probably actually even still wins in a lot of ways because that was like one of the ones you had control over and choice.
Yeah.
And so I think when things happen to us, it can put us in definitely labeled the darkest of moments. And I can think of things that happened to me, getting a diagnosis, you know, having my family issues. I mean, my dog dying, if you want to like, anybody who's loved their dog.
Oh, absolutely.
There's nothing worse.
Can't
There's just
imagine.
absolutely nothing worse. And you could call it your darkest moment, but those are all outside of your control. I think some of the things that have happened in business with people I really loved and cared about, and you put so much of yourself into it.
Yeah.
And you think, maybe if I was a better manager, like maybe if I would have, you got the maybe if I would have.
Oh, fuck.
You know, I think that eats at you.
It does. It does.
In a way that it's so much harder to get peace because you can let go of other things that have happened to you. I mean, they weren't, you have no control over a dog aging.
That's right. No, you
know?
expect it. You expect it from the day you get it.
But the things we have influence over. So, you know, I think that was probably it, like having a couple really committed partners and putting your, you know, all of your energy and time into building this like family really, and having it dissolve on you.
Yeah.
And having to wonder how much of that was you.
Right. Oh, that's heavy. So sometimes when things get heavy, I always find myself asking, you know, who, not how. I always try to reach out. I always try to talk to people. I mean, I've gone through a similar thing. You know, I talked to you about it. We had a great chat, and it just helps unburden. Yeah. And when you talk about, you know, mentors, coaches, people of influence in your life, who were some of those people?
I mean, that's probably the biggest blessing in my life, is that I've had some really amazing humans come into my life. Mike Uelling, David Blair, Olander Medina. There have been a number. I'm still not good about reaching out to them, but they know me well enough to check in on me, especially if they don't hear from me. But, we're not always born into the family, maybe with the resources or the talent pool that our mind is seeking. But I think if you're open, it kind of fills in. And I can remember, several moments with my coaches and really teaching moments. I think one of the hardest for me, kind of on that loss moment, was I had two of my mentors, and they've been there for me for years. And I was talking about my issues with trust. And you know me, right?
Yeah.
I love to help people, but it's hard for me to accept that help or trust.
Yeah.
And they both looked at me and they're like, yeah, but you trust us, right? Like, we would never do anything to you. And without hesitation, I was like, no. And like the look on their faces, the surprise when I just so blatantly was like, no, because they also know I'm really honest. So they know I wouldn't sugarcoat it. But like the journey I got to go on with them and being able to be that vulnerable, even in essentially calling them out on whether or not they'd be there. I could say it's been about 8 years since that conversation. They're both still there for me. We have regular calls, and the advice I get from them personally and in business is priceless, I think. I mean, if you don't have a mentor in your life, you really need to look at where you're at and open yourself up to maybe why hasn't this person found me? Mm-hmm. Is my heart not open to it? Like, am I not trying to learn? But
what do they say? When the student is ready, the master shall appear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I met both of them in unique ways. One was actually on my friend's radio show.
Yeah.
And then I was helping with his radio show, and he's like, "Oh, this guy Mike was on the show. You got to meet him. You got to meet him." So that was kind of a serendipitous connection.
Yeah.
And the other, I literally sat next to him at an event, and we could have chatted or not chatted, but the fact that, again, like, it was there, I was ready. We talked, we had coffee. That was 14 years ago now. We go flying together. Like, he's always pressuring me to be more of an adult, which is a really great role for a mentor, for someone who's lived a Peter Pan life into his 40s.
Yeah.
But no, mentorship, I think, is one of the, we could spend the rest of the show just talking about the influence of our mentors.
No, I agree. I remember my first real mentor. I ended up going to an event for 5 years, Intelligent Millionaire Network in Toronto. It was an hour there, probably an hour back. If there's traffic, it's probably like 3 hours. The only 2 months that I missed, it was a monthly meeting. The only 2 months I missed was when my grandfather passed away and I had to go to Europe. And it took like 4.5 years for me to be ready for the master to appear. And when they did, it was like serendipitous, like you said, right? It was like, hey, you want a chance? Yes, I do. But I'd never even told you when or where. Doesn't matter, I'll be there. And that was it. It just, from there, took off. Danielle Chason, powerhouse real estate investor, Canada, Ontario. And no, she changed my life.
David Blair, famous pilot, millionaire investor. Man,
shut up.
We're just bragging.
Yeah. So, dude, after corporate, I mean, I know you had a crazy time in corporate, and then you decided to kind of do the opposite of corporate.
Yeah.
And just fuck off for like, what, 10 years?
Yeah, about 10.
Yeah.
It was good. Well,
Log off.
I left corporate, was still, I went through a lot of personal stuff, essentially a divorce. We were not legally married, but had all the properties together, built a life together.
Yeah.
Had the following, they started a business, spent 2 years building it, and really put my identity into it, having left the corporate world. And when that came unraveled, the stress of American life, 2 of the original mentors I mentioned, which Orlando Medina was one of them. God rest his soul. He's an amazing human, but he committed suicide, essentially.
Fuck.
And, I'm looking at these guys who were my mentors. He's 10 years older than me, wildly successful. He's getting written up in the New York Times. He's considered one of the best tax planning attorneys in the country, revolutionary. And then it wasn't like enough for him,
Yeah.
And I'd already been in that game. When you work in finance, you work with very wealthy people, and you start to see that, like, you kind of get to this never enough phase, because the more you make, the riskier it kind of is to make more, and there's pressure on you. You got employees you got to take care of. It might not even be your pressure anymore, right? Like, if you fail, a lot of other people lose now.
That's right.
And so it's not even like you're just trying to grow.
Yeah.
You have like this whole extended set of responsibilities that's really hard to comprehend. When I was growing the company, people would be like, why do you work so late? And I would watch the trash people come in and clean at night, and I'm still there working.
Yeah.
and I'm the owner.
Yeah.
But I always would think, you know, I bet that guy never goes home and wonders if he forgot to take out the trash. You know, he's like, oh, dude, did I leave that bin?
Right.
Did I leave the bin on floor 9?
Yeah.
Did we miss that floor?
Yeah.
You know, and for that, you get to sleep really well. But when you have families and people that you care about that are really counting on your decisions, you know, it's a hard balance to get that. So leaving the corporate world and then taking that on, I think I really actually respected all that structure they gave us, right? Why those lists were there, like really what those tools were for,
Yeah.
and like protecting that family. But when I lost my friends, when I lost that, yeah, I just decided, I think maybe everyone's living it wrong. In my 20s, when I graduated college, I took a year off and traveled. And then, of course, everyone's like, get a job, get cars, get all these things. And I had the big house, matching cars, you know, out in the woods with a view. I thought, you know, maybe I knew more in my 20s. Maybe me, without society's influence, had the right idea. So I downsized everything, sold a big house, sold all my stuff, bought some investment properties, and a sailboat in Spain. And that began the journey, which led to 40-some countries in Colombia and meeting you.
Yeah. Holy fuck. So that was an entire decade. It was like what, from 30 to 40?
Yeah, about 32 to 40, 41.
You just lived off investment and just traveled the world and...
Yeah, I did some client work here and there.
Okay.
I always love to add value. Can't stop. I mean, you know, if I see something, I'm gonna be like, oh, have we thought of this? You know.
No, that's
so
absolutely true.
A number of clients. I had a few great clients I'd done like pro forma financials and valuations for that would call me periodically, which gave me a little extra spending money.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I mean, I one day wanted to go sit at Stonehenge, so I flew to England and went and sat at Stonehenge for the day, and then I found out there was a Scottish Stonehenge that's even older. So I got on a plane and went up to Scotland and found that it's in the middle of a golf course.
Yeah.
People golf around you while you do it. It's quite interesting.
Wow.
But I just kind of went where it felt like I needed to be. And I met a lot of really just amazing people with unique stories along the way.
Yeah. Like the bear in Romania.
I never got to meet the bear, but I was like, again, I was pretty much still in a dark part of my journey.
Oh yeah, you're hoping to meet a bear in
Yeah, exactly.
Romanian forest with Dracula in Transylvania.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go to Transylvania, you go, and they have the castle closed, and you can't read Romanian, so you break in with a bunch of local teenagers, because
As you do.
naturally,
Yeah.
that's my life.
Right.
There's 12 kids jumping a fence at 3 p.m, and I couldn't get in. I drove 4 hours to find this authentic ruins, the Vladimir Castle in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
not Castle Braun everyone else goes to. So I'm jumping the fence with these kids. Thank God Georgie spoke English. I'll
Yeah.
never forget him. He's the only one in the group. And I was like, I'm going to get beat up by like 13 Romanian kids. But they told me the reason it was closed wasn't for like renovations. It was closed because there were wild bears attacking people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Dracula Castle, wild savage bear. I'm like, this is too good to be true.
Of course.
So I went up, waited for sunset. I'm like, death by Dracula? Is that even a thing? Like, I gotta know. But I didn't get the lucky card. I don't know if it's an unlucky or lucky card, but I was not selected. I made it home safe.
Okay. So you're not a vampire.
No.
Okay. Well, maybe next time.
Maybe next time. I think the camera sees me, so I think we're good.
Yeah. Well, we'll check. We'll check that. If I'm
It's
talking to no one,
transparent, yeah.
you'll know it's a
We got
vampire.
no mirrors in here, so we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
No, it's been an eclectic journey. So many stories from different countries. I mean, and the people you connect with. It's amazing, even without language, how deeply you can connect with people.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, what was your biggest mistake?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Honestly, one of my biggest mistakes was calling a friend of mine at 1 a.m. after making a crypto trade, really excited, because it became a domino that ended a 20-year friendship in the most bizarre way possible. I have almost no regrets in life, but probably that phone call. I think everything happens for a reason, so we'll see where this life takes me. But
Yeah.
I mean, all my regrets taught me something. Even that one, but I really just don't believe we make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, because mistakes that we frame as mistakes make us who we are.
Yeah.
I think the only mistake that I could have had is not making as many as I did.
Yeah.
I just think calling one of my best friends at the wrong time planted a seed that caused, that was one I've always thought about that. I was like, if anyone ever asked me that question, I would probably think the phone call I made from Pareto at 2 in the morning when I made one of my first like $5,000 trades. I literally made $5,000.
So what'd you do? You're like, hey bro, this happened, do it too, and he
Yeah.
did it, and then he lost money, and he's like, fuck.
No, he actually made money. He doubled his money overnight.
Oh.
I made $5,000 in a couple of hours. So I
Yeah.
called my best friend
Yeah.
who has 2 kids, and I'm like, dude, buy this like right now
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sell it in the morning. I was like, whenever you
Yeah.
wake up, sell it. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm glad you're awake. So he bought it. I don't think he sold it in the morning, but he did call me the next day. He's like, it's double. I was like, it's kind of cool to double your money in 8 hours.
Yeah.
But he thought I did it on cocaine.
Oh. What?
He's like, you were really excited. You were like sweating. I was like, yeah, I just made $5,000 in 8 minutes. Like, I felt pretty great. And it created this rift because, like, you know me in honesty, like, I own my faults. And it just created this rift between us because I just wouldn't admit to something I've never done. That was one thing. I just never had an interest in trying certain drugs.
Yeah.
Because, like, to me, drugs, whether it's heroin, cocaine, anything synthetic that's highly addictive, like, the best case scenario is you don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, think about it, right? You buy it, you do it, you're like, oh, that wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you, God, I didn't like it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Like, the worst case scenario is you buy something
And you love it. And
right?
you're like,
yeah.
fuck.
And you're like,
Yeah,
now you're totally fucked.
yeah.
So there's certain, like, guilty pleasures I just never even wanted to know. So it's something that's been long-standing in my life, but that excitement, that phone call, cost me like a 20-year friendship. Like, and I still love him. He's still my brother. He could come back into my life anytime if he watches this.
Yeah.
I know that. And I know I could knock out his door. He might punch me in the face.
Well.
But he'd let me in afterwards. Like, I know because he's my brother, but at the same time, we're both these stoic men of honor.
Yeah.
And we're standing here, this, like, dumb game of chicken that'll probably last another lifetime.
Yeah, that's what happens sometimes. Life is weird.
Life is weird, man.
But, dude, you're an author too, right?
I would like to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good question because I should be able to say yes. I've actually written over 3 million words in my personal dialogue, which is story outlines, one screenplay, a cookbook. So I actually got to the point where the software I was using couldn't word count the files anymore. And the last one was like 3 million words. It's broken up. I'd have to go look at it now.
Yeah.
Your average book's like 70,000 words. So
Wow.
I probably should be an author by now. And, you know, we were just joking about it too. I go by David Unwritten online. Yeah. Part of that is because it's really unpublished. Like, I write all the time. I speak all the time. And the guy at the party doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
But I don't share it with the world because I never really made it for anyone else. Like, it's hard. I think it's hard for anyone to feel like their idea is relevant to someone else.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think you're one of those rare people that literally needs that outlet because you have so much. And if you're not putting it somewhere, then how do you make room for the new stuff that keeps coming?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that really is it. Some people have art, right? And they're painting a canvas. And for me, I'll spend hours at night writing out ideas that are in my head. And they don't even sometimes feel like mine, right? Just like it's like coming through you and you're like, I got to put this somewhere so that I don't have it in me anymore.
Yeah, the flow. It's like a flow state. Yeah.
And thank God to voice to text. Life-changing. I mean, I can't even imagine how much knowledge we would all be able to share if some of the great Stoic writers, you know, and philosophers of our generation didn't have a quill and a candle. Yeah. Like the amount of amazing thoughts they had that are lost to the ages.
Yeah, they're like, yo, ChatGPT, check this out. Apple fell on my head. What you think it means, you know?
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, we live in this era, even this podcast, like we have so much availability of capturing great ideas and then sharing them with other people. I mean, so much of my success has come from being able to stand on the shoulders of all these great people, all the great books we can read.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we don't even just read great books. You can listen to it while you're doing other stuff, right? So we live in this world that we have the highest rates of depression. We have all these things happening, but at the same time, you have to look around. The abundance we have. I mean, you used to have to go to some random library and then literally spend the whole day just studying over books to get a very moderate amount of knowledge.
Yeah.
He said, hey, you and I can be like literally making a smoothie in the blender, like the TV in the background while listening to our favorite audiobook or rolling a podcast.
Yeah.
We can digest so much information so quickly and then take it for granted.
Yeah.
I think that's the amazing part, right?
No, it is, man. It is. Dude, you know what? You know what's super interesting also? I think when we talk about like, you know, like bringing things to life, manifestation, and we kind of we joked about it now, but you kind of manifested your own cancer so you
would agree.
Have an amazing book.
Well, and not just that, like we joked about the Dracula thing. I mean, I really left. I was pretty committed to not surviving that trip.
Yeah.
Like I tried to cross the ocean by myself in a boat. Like I was like, what are the most ridiculous things if I have angels that might like throw them off track? Because I definitely, you know, one of my very good friends at 13 had committed suicide. 2 of my mentors committed suicide. Like I knew I wouldn't do it to myself, but I really wanted to challenge God.
Yeah.
And I feel the culmination of that was working on this kind of cookbook. Yeah. Which was ironic that I'd started on it. But then when I got the diagnosis, I think God has a way of challenging us. And I talked to that about people who are facing suicide. And it's one of the number 1 killers. So it's really relevant to more people than we know. And it's hard to talk about. Society doesn't let us. But I think we get it in our head that it's romantic, like sailing out into the ocean and not making it back. Or, we romanticize these darknesses inside of us. But the reality is bears. Like if you're in the freaking woods, and I hike in the Northwest, I've seen bears. They're really big. You see a bear.
Bro, this is not the Joe Rogan podcast, all right? We're not just going to talk about bears the whole time.
You brought him up. Romanian bears. But I'm talking Northwest bears. They're way bigger than Romanian bears. But no, when people are feeling down, like, if you're being chased by a bear, you know how much you want to live. Like, it's really obvious because it's not romantic. You do not want to be disemboweled by a giant creature.
Fuck no.
No, it's completely, your instinct for life kicks in. And we live in a very unnatural world now, right? Like
we do.
We have air conditioning. We have grocery stores. Like, and so we forget our survival instinct. Yeah. And I think when we kick that back in, like, it puts us really in line with how easy it is to live. Like, life is literally just living. Yeah. It's not your production, nothing else. You're just supposed to live it.
How'd you find the discipline to cure yourself of cancer? I mean, you literally, because right now you got the second diagnosis, right? You're good to go.
Yeah. So last week I had a second completely clean scan.
Wow.
Well, first of all, I have to say, for anyone struggling out there, I got the low ball. I had thyroid cancer. So it's a little easier to manage. You don't have to be like super panicked because it's a slow progression. Yeah. So everyone wanted to do the surgery. Oh, you have to have surgery. I was really disappointed in the advice I was getting. Yeah. But for me, the discipline was easy because you have cancer. You could obviously say the other 41 years I was less disciplined. I had ice cream every single night. I mean, I have a metabolism problem, so I would love to use my metabolism as an excuse. I always told my friends I'm the skinny fat person. Yeah. Because I would eat whatever I wanted. And I never wore the consequence, but I became the consequence. Wow. And I think it was between that and my mindset. I wasn't really valuing my life. And I think the biggest thing it taught me was gratitude. Yeah. And then with that gratitude, it's like easier to stop eating sugar, stop eating seed oils. Yeah. And it brought me closer to God. That's the other thing I've always had, not always, but I developed faith in God in my 20s. But it was kind of more like a bro. Like, it's like, and now it's a father. Right. Because that's really what that relationship is. Yeah. And in embracing that also gave me the discipline to be strict on the diet. And I wasn't always perfectly strict. Yeah. Which also tells me that a lot of us have more power to get healthier than we think, because I wasn't 100% perfect. But if we could get gross for a minute on your show, the metric I would use, because I didn't know this was possible. I mean, have you ever been in a bathroom without toilet paper? Yeah. It's terrifying, right? Like, what are you going to do? I'm not going to do anything. You don't have any toilet paper. Yeah. When I went on the full cancer diet, when I was doing all healthy, I didn't use toilet paper for 3 months. No wet wipes, no toilet paper. It was weird. Like, it was a good month and a half before I got up and walked off the toilet without checking. And of course I scurried right back and I sat down and triple checked, and I'm like, oh. But when you're actually eating healthy, like, that's how our bodies are supposed to be. And I think that was the craziest thing of saying, like, oh, maybe I've never done it right. Wow. Because on a full ketogenic diet with all organic, well-balanced, like 13 different varieties of vegetables that are all cruciferous, the low-carb veggies, my body was really happy.
Holy fuck.
So, yeah, I mean, you also see the awards of the discipline. Yeah, I literally didn't have to wipe my ass. And it's kind of fun to, like, we don't honestly talk about gut health enough in the world, so I do like to bring it up because in 40 years, I've always wiped my... And you get the phantom one that surprises you every now and then, but it's not like a healthy surprise necessarily either. It's like, this is like... It was the most bizarre thing. Like, day one, you're like, that's really clean paper. And then you're like, day two, do I put it back on the roll? Yeah. And then you're like, day three, and you're like, I have not seen anything but blank, fresh paper. It's just a weird one. Yeah, shit, quite literally. So, again, like, it told me I was doing the journey right. And what I was surprised was how fast it was effective.
I wanted to mention this to you. I was kind of thinking about you the other day, and I thought about that. And you know what? Like, I think this happens to me a lot too. I think when it happened to you, obviously you were crushed. You were like, what the fuck? And then you activated, your powers to turn it into something positive. Mm-hmm. And you set a goal and you accomplished it. And it was tremendously difficult. I know, I was there with you, and I saw visually the struggle, and you played it well, but there were times that obviously it was hard and dark and difficult. But I think you and I share this. I think that once you accomplished it, mm-hmm. it's always been hard for me anyway, and I think I noticed a little bit in you, it's always been hard to appreciate the struggle I went through. Because I was like, well, I did it. That was easy.
Well, it's also just hard for us as men, right? You talked about it earlier about us reaching out, like reaching out to people when we need it, reaching out to our mentors when we're down. And I think not only is it hard to reach out when we're down, it's hard to claim our wins. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's so fucking difficult.
It's a balance because you don't want, it's not ego, like, oh, my ego. No, it is a great accomplishment. And you don't feel like you did it. Right. And I think the other part is, I think that's what brought me a lot closer to God. What helps me with that is I can just give God credit.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I really do. Like, I feel like God also put cancer in my life because I wasn't living my life. Even my mentor told me when I got cancer, and this was harsh. This is how you know you have a good mentor. This guy is intense. He's in his 60s. He looks right at me. I get cancer, and he goes, well, David, you were already dead anyway. And he goes, but he was true. I mean, I was just screwing off. I was fully retired, right? If I died, like, who's missing it? Like, one client maybe doesn't get a billing statement or whatever, but was I really engaged in life?
Yeah.
I mean, I've missed out on a lot of family things. I have fully disengaged my responsibilities from life, even though I have the capacity to do so much. And his ability to articulate that in an absolutely unkind, direct way that you need. Sometimes it's the only way we can receive that information.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, like taking credit for what we accomplish, I think it can be very hard. Like whether it's cancer, whether it's business, it's hard to sometimes celebrate those wins as if we did them.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I was talking to the lady literally the other day, and she was like, you finished the podcast, Ron. It took fucking months. It was grueling, long, stupid effort, lots of problems, trials, tribulations, and regular Columbia things. And now you're just running through it, and like we never even celebrated.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. I literally stopped, and I was like, baby, I never even thought to celebrate. I
think what you're, I mean, I was there with you, so I know that we're literally standing on a bathroom floor that looks amazing right now.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is actually part of what makes a lot of people successful. It's the foregone conclusion that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was sure that I was going to beat it.
Yeah.
I was sure. That's probably part of how I did, right?
Yeah.
But that way, when you do, you're like, well, yeah. I mean, like I was like, so it's like you're gonna build this, right? It's like,
yeah.
You're gonna
I'm not
have
ever giving up. It's
and so,
just
like,
gonna happen.
When it's done, you're like, well, it's not really exciting. Like you already saw it done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So everyone else is excited that it's now done.
Yeah.
But you were like, well, it was done when I started. Like I had it completed.
I just got here now.
And now I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I finished it when I first told you about it, right? And I think that is something that for manifesting, like you're talking about, right? When we really manifest something, when we really believe in it, when we really want it, it's even harder to celebrate when it comes to us because we had it in the moment we embraced the idea.
You know what I find, I just got this thought right now. Honestly, I feel like celebration, I think they're definitely like, you need to celebrate things. You need to appreciate life. You need to show gratitude. You need to like document and set events for certain things to stamp moments and memories. And I agree with all of that. It's just like one of those things, like when you first learn like law of attraction, manifestation, how to set your thoughts, your mindset, all those things, positivity, how the opposite of that affects you negatively. I think that one of the things that I kind of like trained into myself is that like, if I'm just sitting here wanting this, then I am actually existing without.
Right.
So like desire is something that's very interesting to have, because if you have desire and you're constantly in desire, then technically you're always in scarcity because you do not have what you want.
Right.
But if you're always in abundance and you're always having things happen that you want, then how do you go further to celebrate when you're already existing on such a high plane of existence, appreciating every day? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you go above and beyond that? Because I feel like every time I do above and beyond, it's like, holy fuck, now we're really high. I was just hanging in there. Now we're really high. I feel like I'm going to have to fucking karmically drop a little bit below to level out, And I'm like, just keep it going.
Well, I mean, having gratitude is such a powerful tool, and it blows me away having traveled and been in so many impoverished parts of the world and wealthy parts. I mean, I've been in Dubai and I've been in Indonesia, and not just Bali. Bali's not Indonesia. Indonesia is Sumatra and Java and these. Yeah. That's Indonesia, and you will see stories and pain and suffering and not just villas.
Yeah.
And you see this diverse way that humans are all existing in the world. But in every environment where they have gratitude, they have some of the most joy. Like I played soccer with these kids in Puno, Peru, at high elevation, and all they want to do is laugh at my gringo ass who you can't breathe. You're 12,000 feet elevation. So they know as soon as you go to chase a soccer ball, you're going to get winded in like 9 seconds, and they get to start laughing at you. But these kids, I mean, by our definition, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And, I grew up, we were a very middle average income family in America. We, had a Nintendo.
Of course.
Back in the day. Now, these kids, they don't have TV, they don't have Nintendo, they barely have like a couple of clothing items they share, and yet they had something I'd never seen in all my friends, which was joy.
Joy.
Like I'd been happy, but they had joy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I have all this stuff and not that? And I learned a lot from those kids kicking a soccer ball around, and I've had these really beautiful teaching moments from travel that showed me what gratitude really, the value of gratitude. And to your point, right, I think that's the root of, because somebody would be like, well, how do I moderate my expectation or when I'm above? I say, if you could be abundantly grateful for it, it will level you out every time. And even the things that go wrong, like, I lost a bunch of money on this investment. Oh, man, I was making investments. How cool is my life?
Fuck, dude, sometimes you stop and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm doing all this shit? Oh, it's not so bad.
But, even if it goes wrong, you were so blessed to have those problems.
Yeah.
We always joke now, it's like a thing, right? First world problems.
Yeah.
First
Dude. Yeah.
Podcast studio took too long. First world problems.
Fuck. Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. Even at the part, I'm like, dude, like, fuck, man. I remember playing Monopoly. I'm like, bro, it'd be so cool to have a hotel. Then I have a hotel, and we're dealing with problems. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Fuck this, da 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 da. You get so pissed off, then you stop for a moment. You're like,
I have a hotel.
I'm a hotelier. You know what I mean? You're like, whoa, shit. Toot my own horn a little bit.
Absolutely.
You kind of get back to it. Dude, I think that's part of it. Like you're talking about those kids having joy. I think they have joy because they're not stuck in desire and want and comparison.
100%.
And when you're all kind of equalized there, what else are you naturally going to do? I think humans are naturally happy.
I agree.
Yeah,
I write about it in all of my unpublished work, but one of the things I encourage in one of the chapters is if you've never swam naked in the ocean, to go swim naked in the ocean, preferably like in a legal area where you're allowed to do that or somewhere private,
Yeah.
Not endorsing like
nudity, public nudity.
Hey, ugly guy who's about to do that on the beach, this was not for you. Like this is about your self-development and why.
Yeah.
First of all, it's a stark thing. We get these ideas of who we are in our mind.
Yeah.
Go to the beach, right? You'll never see a little 3-year-old with shorts on. He's got sand up his butt crack and he's rolling around and he's the happiest thing you've ever seen with no shame, no guilt, no embarrassment.
Yeah.
So why is it that you and I, as intelligent adults in a safe environment, not offending anyone, are wildly uncomfortable getting naked?
Yeah.
And then getting sand in our butt crack. That's not nature. Like you were born rolling around in that, happy as you could be. We learn shame before we learn who we are. So you learn who you are around 7. Psychology studies say between 5 and 8, you decide who you are, and you start seeing the world as you in the world rather than just this blob absorbing data.
Yeah.
And so when you, as a little kid, you learn this shame, and then you spend your whole life thinking, I don't want to swim naked in the beach. No shame. Society taught you that. Now, maybe you still don't, but society taught you that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you take your clothes off and you go swim in the ocean. I encourage everybody to do this at least once in your life, or you missed life. But you can actually physically experience the mental part of your brain that is telling you not to do it. And if you take a moment and go, that's not me, you can apply it to the things that you can't easily identify. Because you're also probably too timid in that business meeting to speak up your mind.
Yeah.
You're also probably a little bit shy in a bunch of other situations that society taught you. But you can't wire to that part of your brain to feel the difference.
Yeah.
But if you get naked in the ocean, that shame button is like so loud. You're like, this is so uncomfortable. Maybe the water's really cold. Maybe there's other things. But that physical representation of the mental block helps you identify it. And then when it's a much subtler, you're in that next business meeting and the guy who always talks over you is like stepping in and you want to say something, but that societal shame of being outside of the norm.
Yeah.
Don't do what we told you not to do. Well, you can't swim in the ocean naked,
Yeah.
It's a smaller scale, but by then doing it in a big macro event like this kind of really firm way, you can apply it to these more subtle versions and really get to your core self.
Absolutely agree. I think that there's something to be said about the way that we view the world and reality. And, if we're all just these souls experiencing reality, then technically, like certain actions, when you look at neuroplasticity, like you're absolutely right. Like, what's the difference to your brain between the action of I don't want to say that in a meeting where I'm being overstepped on, and I don't want to get naked into the sea? What is the actual difference? It's the same blockade down on a neurological level. It's the same blockade. And actually, funny enough, I mean, there was the point in COVID where I was just like, what the fuck is life? This is all fucked. Da, da, da. And I had this
Way
buddy.
to keep it positive, bro.
Yeah. No, legit. I had this buddy. He seemed to have figured it out. Matt McKeever, shout out. And he just fucked off, bought some land way up in Kenora, Ontario, like 20 hours away. And he was like, any of you that don't agree with this bullshit, come and hang out. And I'm like, yo, fuck, I was the first one there. I'm like, yo, I'm going.
But we were just there. How was the drive, bro? How was
Dude,
the drive?
so listen, so this ties into the naked in the sea part. I'm gonna cover that too. So you know, I still had a business at the time. I was doing flips, and you know, I got like stop work orders on my flips. I got, you know, like the market was unpredictable. I didn't know what to do. I still had a business with HVAC. Like things were like, yo, don't go to anybody's house. All this stuff was happening, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is the first time I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do. So how do I band together with people that know how to do? Because I'm like, I'm not gonna go down this like, you know, wear 20 masks and shove shit up my ass. Like, I don't agree with this. So
You're actually not 6 feet away from me right now.
Yeah.
It's making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, you know, the next room, I'll make it a little bigger. So, you know, going down that, I'm like, okay, let me go be amongst the people that I you know, that share the same mindset. So I called him. I'm like, yo, I'm coming. He's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah. So I went, helped him move, packed up the trucks, like sent 3 trucks up north. And he bought this like 20 acres with like 16 cabins with a major, like a grand cabin. It used to be like a, you know, for kids, like, or whatever. And he just bought the whole thing. And he's like, man, I got space. Like, people want to come, whatever. Like, you know, let's build something. Let's do something. And he was really great at building teams. So on my way there, after like settling all my affairs, setting everything up, I'm like, I'm just going. And people are like, oh, you're crazy. That's so far. Da, da, da. Why would you do that? And I felt like I had to shed all of this negativity. So right on the beautiful curving roads in the mountains, like northern Ontario, I ended up by Lake Superior, and I don't know what happened. I just pulled over. I got out the car, traversed down a fucking mountain over a guardrail, got to the water, shed my clothes, and jumped in. And it was the coldest fucking water, like Lake Superior. Your ocean idea seems a little bit more romantic and better. This was freezing my fucking ass
You
off.
chipped the hole out to jump into.
Dude, it was fucking intense. And I'm like, I can do this. I can last. Like, people do ice plunge all the time. Fuck it. So I just stayed there. And I got this, like, after like 10 minutes of being there, I got this like click where I felt like finally everything just like shifted away. And it just forced me into the moment, because like my head was going crazy. I was listening to Stephen Arnio, Hard Times Create Strong Men. So I was just like getting a lot of like, you know, oh, fuck the system. This is bullshit. And I'm like, okay, I'm already happy and grateful that I got away from all of that mentally. I'm not falling for the brainwashing. But at the same time, like, how do I find peace?
Right.
And that water just like shocked the fuck out of me. Got me to that moment. And you know how I knew it was time to get out?
Hypothermia was setting in.
No, actually, a family was walking by. I didn't see that there was a
The
park.
shame kicked in. The shame like,
kicked in.
shit, I have no pants
I'm
on.
like, fuck. So I'm just chilling there.
I'm going to jail.
I'm like, I'm freezing, and I gotta wait for these guys to walk all the way by while I'm like hiding behind a rock. Like, fuck, I did not think this through. So they finally go by. You know, I got out, ran to my car. You know, got back in, kept driving, and blew a tire. Had to rent a car to get there, as things happen. You know, and then I got there, and then I got fucking really sick. So I was like there hanging out with the guy, sick as fuck, coughing up like for like a week.
You brought hypothermia.
I brought
COVID.
hypothermia COVID to him.
The hypo COVID.
On steroids, bro. It was hilarious.
Welcome to the camp, bro.
Yeah, he's like, oh, dude, welcome. No, it's all good. But yeah, seriously, like, yeah, I agree. Get naked in the water.
Yeah. I mean, it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing, and our mind is a powerful thing. You know, it's another one I write about in, if I ever publish Making Elephants. If you have a dog, which I know you do, so this is a little relevant, right?
Yeah.
And your dog is so adorable. When you get home or walk in the door, nobody's going to be happier than a dog, right? Like everyone might say, I'm smarter than my dog.
Right.
And honestly, your dog at this point in his stage is not even fair competition. He
Yeah.
wins the cute factor, but he's a little pea monster.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us, I'm more intelligent than a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's open the door, go home, and see who's happier.
Right.
So what good is our intelligence if we just weaponize it against being happy?
That's true.
Right? And so like jumping in that cold water, getting naked, like forcing yourself
Yeah.
to like do something is where you start to break the intelligence from the living. Because the puppy's not smart enough to be miserable. Like you literally have to be intelligent to be miserable. And it's such a weird burden of of existence.
It is.
You know, because like, we have this choice to be happy,
Yeah.
and yet we will focus on what's not. Like, again, going back to the abundance. When you travel all these foreign countries and you come back to America, or even, I mean, Colombia has fresh drinking water. You can drink out of the tap here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You can't everywhere.
Yeah.
And yet you can wake up in the morning in so many countries right now and find 100 people that are thousands, millions of people that are going to complain and be depressed while pooping in drinking water.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, again, our problems are someone else's miracle.
That's true.
And it's this weird spectrum
It is.
of lacking gratitude in this modern world.
Yeah. No, dude, it's weird. Rapid fire round.
Rapid fire round? Where are we going?
A book that changed your life.
Oh, there's a lot. If you're going to say a book that changed my life, that'd be the Bible.
Ooh, second person said that today.
You got some good people on your show, bro.
I know.
I appreciate that. I mean, if you really are, because, I mean, there's a lot of reasons I could pick that. I mean, and I think, again, that goes to where you're at in your journey. Some people grew up with it, right?
Yeah.
And I think why it was so powerful for me, I didn't. I grew up in an atheist home. So, yeah, we did some Christmas stuff. You know, I remember going to church on a couple C's and E's, you know, because it was like a communal thing. But
Yeah.
we didn't practice. We didn't pray. And so finding my relationship with God in my 20s was, I think, in some ways more profound. I remember my mentor at the time, because you do the Christian rite of initiation, you know, you go through this year-long process to join the church. But like hearing their stories of growing up with religion, and he was always like, I love teaching this, and I love seeing your guys' perspective, because I never got to learn it. I already had it.
Yeah.
You know, so he had a really powerful faith. He didn't get to experience developing it because you're so young.
Yeah.
And also, then there's the rebellious side. A lot of people who get it that young, they don't feel like it was theirs. You know, like
Yeah.
he's saying, I didn't get to experience it being mine, so other people then reject it because they don't experience it being theirs. And rather than seeing the beauty of that relationship, they end up being
Wow.
like, this was forced on me.
Yeah.
And I think they turn away from it. But for me, some of the teachings in the Bible, I mean, praying for your enemy, just high-level concepts, they'll bring you so much peace. And there's so much wisdom from the time they were written that are still applicable today. I'd have to go with the Bible.
Love it. What would 18-year-old you say about you now?
Probably that I'm a bitch, but I was pretty egotistical back then. Still honest, but yeah, because I honestly was probably a harder worker, more go-getter.
Yeah.
You know, not only was I not going to class, but I also ran the student store.
Yeah.
And it was a hobby elective. How I had that 4.0. So again, the system is not exactly game the system.
Yeah.
So you could apparently run the student store for an A.
Yeah.
But yeah, we made so much money the year I ran it. They actually fired one of the cafeteria workers.
Wow.
Like, it was just like I was a go-getter, right?
Yeah.
I was hungry for everything. I think the cool thing about being 18
Yeah.
is you're like hungry and you got nothing to lose,
Yeah.
you know? And I think he would look at me and be like, you're just sitting on your ass because you can. You know what I mean? Like, and I do a lot, but like younger me,
So he called you a bitch.
I think so. And I really tap into that because I've been really reconnecting with my 18-year-old self, with my adolescent self, because going back to the child in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Even us at 18, we were a lot clearer. We didn't know what we wanted to do, but we were clearer on the process of knowing we wanted to know.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we might not at 18 have been like, I'm going to be an accountant,
Yeah.
but we knew we wanted to know. And then once you've been an accountant for 20 years, you're just so accepting
Yes.
that you forget to think about, like, you know, there was a time when I desired to desire.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's something that I would look at me and I'm personally working on right now, is to reconnect with that. And that's part of what led me on my travels abroad too, was, you know, when I was 20, I was doing this, and that kid was pretty actually smart. He was really happy. He's the puppy when you came home, you know? So I think it's that balance of, are you joyful at this point in your life, and are you hungry still? Because life is short.
Yeah.
And I think the saddest thing we do as we age is we lose the hunger for life as we have less time to live it.
Yeah.
It's an oxymoronic situation, right?
Yeah.
Like literally we go less time and we're like more Netflix. It's like, what is going, it's just a weird situation. That's probably what I would tell younger me.
Okay. Biggest red flag in a person?
Ooh, great question. Lots. I mean, probably two stand out the most. I can't give you one, so I'm a bad answer. Lack of empathy and lack of self-accountability. Everybody fucks up.
Yeah.
Now, I got no problem with that. You can fuck up and be my friend all the time. Somebody fucks up and can't be accountable for it. That's tricky. That's a really tricky one. It also just shows where they're at in their growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you can't always help people grow. You can't get this idea like,
Very
I'm
true.
going to like help this person become the best version of themselves.
Yep.
Man, we've all fallen for that before. And it should be your goal with everyone you work with to like empower them.
Well, here's something that just to chime in. Typically, we do this quick, but I think you mentioned the Bible. Now you mentioned this. I think it's important to say. I spend a lot of time trying to help people, some successfully, some not. And one thing that I've recently been trying to adapt is, and it was a hard realization.
Big sigh.
It was a really hard realization. Because my heart was in the right place, but it just really hurt to see how wrong I was. And it's the fact that sometimes people just want to be listened to. They just want you to be there for them. And biblically, that is the correct thing to do. But
100%.
if you are actively mentally trying to help somebody, you're also prophesizing, putting them into victimhood where they need help. And you're technically projecting curses upon them where they are the victim, you are the savior, you are the prophet, you are the one that's going to lead them. You are the shepherd, they are the sheep. And it puts you in this like weird dynamic that is just simply not true because only God can judge.
Well, that's that fine line. That brings us all the way back to the beginning of our conversation where we were talking about, our mistakes, like how we can correct them, and we can't judge other people, right?
Yeah.
We can't, like with those mistakes, like, could I have made it different? That endless question in the back of your mind. And the thing is, it's not ours to do or not do, right? We just do the best we can.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's where we eat ourselves up. But to know that your job isn't always to get the result, but to go with good intention. And that's the philosophy I live my life by. So to this day, I always just say, leave everyone you meet and everywhere you go better. And if you can't leave it better, leave it the same.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think sometimes when you see the potential in someone, you can't want it for them, right? They have to give you permission. They have to say, Nemo, I want you to beat the crap out of me with great ideas, you know? And if they don't get that, it's hard not to, though. You have that desire to pull it out.
It is.
No, and I have seen you. You definitely, you can see that in your network. You can see that in the people attracted to you. You are always both attracting good people and then trying to push them to be their best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that bound us together too in the beginning. So no, absolutely appreciate you having me on today. Like, this has been wonderful. We could chop it up anytime, and it's been.
Wait, don't end my show for me. I got 2 more questions. What the fuck, this guy? Best money you ever spent?
Best money I ever spent? Failed investment, honestly.
Okay.
I made about a $15,000 investment. Actually turned out to be 20. Lost all of it, but made one of the best friends through that process. So sometimes it's interesting, the best money we spend can be the money we lost. And that would definitely be the case for me.
Okay. And last question. One belief you've changed your mind on recently?
That it's my responsibility to fix things.
Powerful.
I think that's probably the biggest one.
Powerful.
Just because you can doesn't make it yours to do.
Yeah. Interesting. 60 seconds. What message you want to leave for the world?
60 seconds, I would just say, fill your heart with gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for in every day. And I think what I struggle with is, we all have bad days. You're going to have bad days.
Yeah.
And it's okay to allow that, but just there are so many blessings in this life that if you're not taking a couple minutes every day to think of a couple of them, you're probably missing out on so much joy and so much of who you authentically can find yourself to be if you would just pray before you eat.
Yeah.
And if you don't have faith, then just take a moment before you eat and go, wow, I'm eating a plate of solar-powered energy that came from a distant star to grow random biological crap that's been harvested by different people, mined out of minerals from the ground, and then brought to my plate, and I get to salt it. I mean, like every little detail that just to have a meal is a miracle. And yet we can pass the whole day feeling a little sorry for ourselves. You know, so I think if I had 60 seconds to share anything, let's all just be more grateful.
I love it, bro. Thanks for being on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on here. I'll let you end the show.
Always a pleasure. Thanks. Thank you for the, for the permission. Guys, David Jackson. David, where can people get in touch with you?
You can follow me Instagram, David Unwritten, or find me at my website, your10th.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Till next time.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. So was that 45? An hour? 45.
That was David. Man, I'm still stuck on the fact that he was doing ice baths during chemo. Like, who does that? Most people would be in bed. He was out training, not to prove something to the world, but to prove something to himself. That discipline wasn't optional, that identity wasn't negotiable. And the way that he talked about Spartan Sundays, it wasn't about the workout. It was about keeping a promise. When your body, your mind, and your circumstances are all telling you to quit, it just made me think. Maybe the strongest people aren't the loudest. Maybe they're just the ones who suffer well and keep showing up anyway. This is Nemology.